What's up, Reno Shade Tree Surgeon? Back again with the Beige Terror. More brown. This 82 Tour Glide Shovelhead, the granddaddy to the baggers that all you guys are riding now. You wouldn't have your shark nose performance baggers if it wasn't for this stalwart vehicle right here, which is not currently charging its battery. Chased down a few things, including not having any gas in it, much to my chagrin, but I always put in my dumb moments along with my aha light bulb moments, because I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea and go like, oh man, there are YouTube, everything is perfect, you know everything, I can't do this myself. I make stupid mistakes all the time. In fact, I make so many stupid mistakes that if I only included my wins, all my videos would be like 5 minutes long, and they're usually like 30 to 40 minutes long. So now I have a new regulator for this bike. Let's slap it back together and put some miles on it, because this is a cool machine. We'll start by removing the ground over here, which I will add was quite loose, alarmingly loose. Although I did tighten it up and I rechecked the system, it wasn't because it had a loose ground. No, that can wreak havoc with electrical and charging systems and computer systems, though this ain't got no computer to worry about. Let's go ahead and get some of these old zip ties off. One of the few things I will wear gloves for, this and brakes, man. I hate brake dust, and I don't think anybody likes the crust that develops underneath a motorcycle that is 40 freaking years old, man. In fact, I know a lot of mechanics, and good for them for setting boundaries. I know plenty of mechanics who won't even work on something unless this has all been pressure washed off. Thank you, Drag Specialties. Sure would have a hard time putting these old bikes together without drag. I'm sure they make them all in China, but hey, it is what it is. It's what allows us to keep these old bikes on the road. I'll notice they got a way thicker gauge of wire for the ground here than on the old one, which I assume is probably original equipment. Also love this. This cracks me up. If you look over here, we've actually got the original relay, which at some point failed, as they do, but it's actually riveted in here, and rather than remove it, they just stuck another relay with that one plugged in and left it in there. So, you know, since I've got this open, we should probably just go ahead and drill out that rivet and actually put this in there. Pretty silly to rivet in something with like the kind of planned obsolescence that a relay does. Well, I don't know if relays planned obsolescence, but they do always end up breaking. Trying to turn over a new leaf. I know that I mess around a lot, and I'll probably never stop half-assing some things, not everything. You know, I'm always gonna wanna half-ass some things, but I'm trying to be better about certain things. So let's do this the right way. All right, now we can get back there and tighten this up. And while I'm at it, if I'm really gonna be doing things right, I guess I gotta replace the missing bolts on this panel too. Who are you, Shade Tree Surgeon? Who are you even? And everybody who's like talking about what a crappy mechanic I am in the comments can shut up. Well, maybe not. I am still a crappy mechanic. Most of the comment section, they're not wrong about me. But just because someone's not wrong about you doesn't make it not sting sometimes. I'm not changing though. Come on, man. It's still the Shade Tree Surgeon channel, not the beautiful, perfect, absolutely everything's always correct mechanic channel, okay? In fact, let's start a fight in the comment section. Who do you think is the best YouTube motorcycle mechanic? Leave your comments down below, and if you find somebody else who disagrees with you, make sure that you argue with them. And from the Discord crew, wrong answers only. And in a fit of genius and why doing the right thing never pays off, I just realized that bottom bolt that I thought was missing is actually the side panel bolt that very much exists. So even when I'm doing the right thing, I can't really do the right thing. We got a new filter and, hell boys, even a gasket. Yeah, fresh filter. We even got a gasket in there. is good, baby. Replaced a couple missing bolts. I'm getting kind of ahead of myself here. I'm putting this thing back together. I gotta actually make sure the battery's charging too. That's why we started this. This is a pretty cool motorcycle. I already wanted to get it running. I mean, the whole freaking, the brown terror, we gotta get it going. It's a fun bike. But now I really have a reason to get it going because when there's a pretty girl that wants to ride on the motorcycle, it's definitely gotta run.
Sounded good though.
Sorry. Be a little trepidatious. She's experienced breakdowns with me before. I promise it's gonna be all right. Maybe. It is charging at least. Okay, a little bit of a cranky starter. The carburetor definitely needs to be messed with. Let's see what we're reading right now. Excellent.
How heavy do you think that bike is?
Oh, it's close to 1,000 pounds. Easily.
Really? Only 1,000?
Oh, I mean, it's half a ton.
3,000 maybe?
No. The beige bomber is officially off the lift, and I've gotten a tentative yes from Cassidy as far as riding it. What's the over-under on making it?
I think yeah. I think we can.
You see, it takes somebody, just that spark, someone to hang out with. You know, the kind of girl that's gonna hang out with old Shade Tree Surgeon, it takes that spark, that eternal reckless optimism. You always have to be like, things are gonna turn out just fine. This time, I swear, it'll be just fine. I love the passion, you know, just the belief that I'll do it right this time. You just keep on believing that, baby.
I am. Let's go.
One minor aside before we take Cassie for a ride on the beige terror over there. She wants to ride her own bike. I love you on the back seat, trust me. I think you look great back there. Having you hold on is amazing, especially on a bike that doesn't leave too much room for Jesus to get in between us, if you know what I mean. I might be a good dog, but I'm still a dog, baby. In the spirit of getting Cassie off the back seat and onto her own motorcycle, we're gonna do our very first ride today. Very first. Ever.
Second. Maybe we won't count the first.
That one did end with some falling over, but that's okay. It's not on film. We don't have to talk about it. The Trail 125 Mighty Ed, which is a great bike to learn how to ride on. No clutch, but she does have to shift it. This right here, that means you're in neutral. I know, I'm sorry I'm being like explaining it like you're an idiot. I don't think you're an idiot.
No. Yeah.
Now you're neutral. It's all the way down. Now click it up 1 foot under it. There you go. Now, so do this for me. We're not going to go anywhere yet, and don't haul on it. Just slowly give it the tiniest amount of gas over here. Okay, there, stop. Now just do that a couple times. Stop. A little more. Stop. Okay. And ride a little farther without me. And just come to a stop after, I don't know, a little bit. There you go. Remember, the key to motorcycles is look where you want to go.
Okay.
You're doing great, sweaty. Oh, she's got her foot on the Kickstarter back there. Just look where you want to go. All right, go ahead and stop. Boom, you're riding.
Okay, let me try this brake. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, see?
Okay.
Now you know you can ride on 2 wheels. Look at that. Hell no, without even that much protest. Come on, baby. You can't keep a shovel down. A Harley Davidson Shovelhead is only ever a few steps away from running to get. Although in the same breath, if I'm going to say that, I also have to admit that every Shovelhead is a few steps away from not running as well. And running is not the same as proceeding or stopping, for that matter. I really should have checked those brakes. It's a suggestion of a stop. Oh, we got turn signals at work. Dope. Dude, it freaking moves, huh? It's got a beat, baby. Like a dancer. Oh yeah, that's right. The brakes. I always wonder if I'm going through this in my head out loud so you guys know what's happening too. If old Cassie back there, Abduxuals, can actually hear me going like, yeah, I'm not sure if this thing's gonna stop. And she's going like, what did I get myself into? Well, only the kind of predicament that you can get into when you're a reckless optimist, baby. Man, this thing freaking scoots, dude. It's nowhere near as loud as the blue Shovelhead old tater salad, but I will say it moves a lot better. This thing must have a cam in it or something. Now, the brakes might not have been bled since the Reagan administration, but luckily, pretty sure these tires got put on when old Bill Clinton was playing saxophone on Arsenio Hall, so they should be fine. Bring back pop-up headlights. Come on, man. I know they're useless, but I don't care. Don't you do it. It's gonna be bad for both of us. This thing don't exactly stop on a dime, more like a silver dollar. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Old Duxel's back there was promised my old casting couch from the Brapstar garage, but unfortunately, rain got it in the storage unit, and that storied, mythical couch got ruined. And I told Cassidy she already got the part. She doesn't need one, but she wants another one anyway.
Please clap.
Well, I have been having fun riding the Tour Glide over there, the beige bomber. But today it's time to go ahead and double Sportster, baby, because even though that thing is running now, and that's a lot of fun, it still needs a few more things before I start to ride it around all the time. And you know what? The Dirtster probably needs a few things too, but Sportsters always need a few things to keep on ticking. Maybe not quite as loud as Shea Lisi's, but it's the Dirtster. You know, you gotta tread lightly. Dueling Sportsters away! ODB and Willem Dafoe's The Green Goblin. Yeah, they ought to have a theme song. And going on an adventure like this, just two green Sportsters, and where do you go on an adventure? When you're riding two Sportsters, dueling Sportsters, off-roading on the gas station. That's where you go. You go to the gas station. Adventure or not, they are still Sportsters. And every Sportster adventure begins and usually also makes a couple stops at the gas station. Some fresh juice, and it's time to roll, baby. First ride of the year, baby! Feels good. I wonder if I can get AI to write a song about two green Sportsters going out for an adventure.
Check it out, it's a sunny day. Two Harley Sportsters are on the way. Gonna hit the road, gonna feel the breeze. Nothing gonna stop it, nothing gonna ease. Revving up, turning heads. Two tough riders, nothing to dread. Cruising down, holding tight. They're in it together, their bond ain't slight. Ride or die, that's their motto. Side by side, heart and throttle. Thundering rumble, the engines roar. Freedom's their treasure forevermore. Ride or die, they're in control. Adventure waits, their spirits unfold. Riding into the sun, no looking back. Harley brothers on the righteous track.
If you're watching now and you only came to see me work on the Tour Glide, we will be going back to that later in this video. I also think it's kind of funny. I don't know what the heck is wrong with me, man. I guess by some people's standards, they would consider me pretty successful on YouTube, but by YouTube standards, my channel is tiny. There's probably quite a few people here right now who just subscribed from the last video I did on the Tour Glide, are interested in seeing me work on it, and instead of following that up right away, I go, hey, there's all these new people here. I should probably dress up like a wizard and make pretend like motorcycles are a Dungeons & Dragons game instead. And I already knew when I did it that that video was just gonna perform terribly. But you know what, baby? I make YouTube videos for me and not for anybody else. Although I do very much appreciate that people watch them, enjoy them, and say nice things about them. That does make me feel good. I might do it for myself, but the fact that other people are here is really, really nice. So if you came just for working on bikes and super serious tough guy biker stuff, like we do a lot of that, but we also embody the adage, do not kill the part of you that is cringe. Instead, kill the part of you that cringes. You know, the Dirtster might be more useful. It's like a Swiss Army knife, but Shea Lisi's Willem Dafoe's The Green Goblin, that is a good-looking bike. Side by side, exploding down the highway like bullets from a 45. Well, they are Sportsters. Maybe bullets from a 22. Better than a 22. Maybe bullets from a 380. We'll do that. Finally, Cool called us and said, let's go for a New Year's Day ride. My New Year's resolution is when my friends ask me to go riding, it's to say yes. Say yes more, anyway. You know, I wish all I did was ride motorcycles. Unfortunately, I have actual responsibilities, no matter what it might seem like on YouTube. These are only little half-hour peeks into what I do every day, but a lot of times I will choose to work, and especially this past year, I chose work a lot over saying yes when my friends asked me to go riding. 2024, man, that's the year, yes. Not like I didn't do a lot of riding in 2023. I've rode freaking everywhere, man. Cross country, all over the place. But in the interest of bettering myself, I think I can ride more. Yeah, baby, I think that's a New Year's resolution we can all get behind. Ride our motorcycles more. I pretty much went every day last year riding my motorcycle. Let's see if we can make it 365 this year. Well, this is Bayhead Road, the place where we're going. It was a nice ride out here already, but this is a place that I'm finally cool up there picked out for today. The air is clean, the sky is blue, and it's a beautiful damn day. Of course, any day on two wheels, just usually a little bit better than one that ain't. Like I always say, man, motorcycles about the most fun you can have, at least with your clothes on. And we're back with the Tour Glide. Not back to work. Luckily, I've never actually had to work on bikes for a living, so it's still a lot of fun to me. Although I do know plenty of people who work on bikes for a living, and they still say they have a lot of fun doing it. So it's one of those things that I think that you can still love after a long time doing it, and specifically talking about some of the boys over there at the Ride Factory, who of course got me hooked up to do a 3-hole change on this thing. We got our 60 weight oil filter, same one as an Evo actually, or I guess actually a Shovelhead oil filter would be the same one as an Evo because the Shovelhead was first. Showing my ignorance here, but I'm not actually sure if this has a chain primary or a belt primary. I know some of these later Shovelheads did have belt primaries, but I think it was only on the FX Sturgis that had those. Anyway, quarter primary oil ain't a bad thing to have around anyway, so we're covered either way. Go ahead and fire this thing up and let it run for a second before we get started, just to get any sludge moving around in there. Even if the oil was changed fresh before it was parked in the storage unit, which is doubtful, and it's been sitting in this engine for a long time at this point. Yo! Yeah, this thing runs rich enough to burn my eyes when I fire it up. We're definitely gonna have to fiddle with that carburetor before whoever wins this bike takes it home. This old school one, they still got an oil bag. So if you're used to twin cams, you won't be used to seeing this on something that's got a fairing like this. I initially didn't think it had an oil filter because most Shovelheads don't. Of course, even though this is an Evo bottom end, you will see that it doesn't have a filter where you would expect an Evo to have one up here. But it does have a filter, and it's actually back here, under here, and some Shovelheads had filters in the oil bag, but this was the very first year with a spin-on automotive style filter, so that's kind of cool. And remember, when it comes to Shovelheads, straight mineral 60 weight. No fancy pants synthetic stuff here. In fact, it'd be really, really bad for them. The stuff that runs this engine would probably be too thick for some modern gearboxes. If you put some of that namby-pamby modern freaking lightweight synthetic stuff in it, this Shovelhead will be leaking like your old lady in the middle of a Twilight marathon. Ask me how I know. Not about the girl leaking during a Twilight marathon, more about the Shovelhead leaking when you put the wrong oil in it. And before I put this back on, I'm gonna put a little spray adhesive on this weather stripping here, because something tells me this weather stripping is probably rarer than hen's teeth right now. Even back in the day, man, these quick release saddlebags are pretty freaking ingenious. Work like a freaking champ too. The only thing I'm not crazy about is the fact that you use a flathead to do it. I'm just like constantly scared about stripping it out. They've held up for this long. Don't lose these, you'll regret it. Well, this thing is a neat little piece of Drag Specialties chrome, but you can't access the tranny filler hole with it on there, so we're gonna have to pull it off. That's awful convenient of them. It actually comes off by hand, which is smart since it's covering the fill hole for the transmission. Now, if I can get it out of here without freaking taking the exhaust off, that'll be a trick. Okay, you can actually get it off, all right. That would have been really annoying. I actually think it looked kind of cool. I kind of like it. I'm going to clean it up and put it back on. Ooh, yeah, good thing we're changing this. There's not a whole lot in there. I mean, it doesn't take much. I think it takes less than a quart, but it's also very much the wrong color. that looks like it's gotten some water in it. Luckily, I only drove it a couple miles and the transmission actually shifts perfectly, so I'm not worried. But yeah, I am glad that we're changing it. So every other Shovelhead I've dealt with, they have a Allen here that this one doesn't have, where you're supposed to put the fill level up to. And the manual does not tell you how much it's supposed to take. It just says fill it up to the Allen until it leaks out, and that's it. So I looked on the internet and it sold me 1.5 pints. So that's what we're gonna go with. If you've ever wondered why Bel-Ray gear oil is red, that is so you can tell the difference between a transmission oil leak and an engine oil leak. Insert joke here about how they have to be different colors because Harley Davidson Shovelheads leak so much that you need to be able to tell the difference. Well, sure was a lot more than we took out. If anything else, we know we've got that. All right, let's go ahead and see if this is a dry clutch or a wet clutch. Unless the FLTs actually got wet clutches before anybody else, but I didn't think that wet clutches came about till later on in the 80s. That has oil on it, so maybe we got a wet clutch here. And nope, that is a dry clutch, baby. Actually, never mind. I was like, oh, that looks dry, but I looked in here and I go, there is no belt on that. That has a chain. It just barely has anything in it. I'm glad I only put a mile on this thing, because if I had actually tried, this is why you need to change all these fluids when you got a bike that's been sitting around and sitting in a freaking storage unit for this long. You just don't know what's inside it, man. I mean, I don't know how long it sat in that storage unit. And I'll tell you, the fluid in it looks like it probably hasn't been changed since Bush Sr. was president. Okay, update. I was just looking in here and I saw, I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see it. I got weirded out because I saw a hose in there and I go, what the heck is a rubber hose doing inside a primary? Now listen, y'all, I never underestimate my own idiocy. I'm dumb, luckily I know it. And also luckily, also for me, not just for y'all, one of the perks of the Shade Tree Army Discord is that Joe the Mountain Jedi hangs out in there and answers questions. Not all day, every day, but he's in there pretty frequently and he drops some pretty amazing knowledge. So I asked him about it and he goes, hey, oh, that's a FLT thing. He goes, that's not quite a dry clutch and not quite a wet clutch. We'll go ahead and call that a 3-finger clutch because it's real moist. Apparently on these FLTs, Harley Davidson ran them like prom night and they use scavenged engine oil to lube the primary chain. That explains why there's only a little bit of oil on the bottom, and it also explains why it was so dark. Also, super glad I asked Joe the Mountain Jedi before I did anything, or else I might have rode this motorcycle around and really messed it up, because it does go back into the pump and through the filter. So what I would have done is introduced an entire quart of primary oil into the engine, which I don't think would have been good for it. Even further updates, this just shows like the kind of gems that Joe the Mountain Jedi drops in Discord on the regular. Before I took that cover off, I thought it was a dry clutch because it feels like one. It feels a little grabby like dry clutches do on old Shovelheads. And I saw the fluid in there and I got confused. I asked Joe about it, and then he drops this on me as well. He says, before you button up the primary, dump a pint of engine oil in there before you close it up and leave the oil bag half a quart low. It'll help the clutch till the engine can scavenge the primary and take some of the grabby feel out of it. You go zip tie the lever to the bar before you start it. It says also some zinc additive wouldn't be a bad thing in this one. Modern oils don't have enough. That's just the kind of knowledge you ain't gonna get in a manual. And I dropped a message in the Discord and I said, all y'all owe Joe the Mountain Jedi a birthday present because he's dropping knowledge like that in there on the reg. And his response to that is total BS. Knowledge unshared is knowledge lost. What the hell are they gonna do when guys like me kick the bucket, download my brain into some kind of archive? And then he goes, well, wait a minute, that sounds a little too much like altered carbon for me. Anyway, the Shade Tree Army Discord is the one and single only perk that I offer for Patreon members. But we do actually try to make it worth something. There's a link down below if you want to follow that. Patreon helps us do what we do around here. It is not mandatory, and Discord membership is for life. So you can literally pay $1. It's the lowest tier I can offer on Patreon, and it gets you in the Discord. And that's for life. You can literally cancel it immediately afterwards. I don't know why I'm telling people that. I guess I'm a bad businessman, but yeah, you can literally cancel it right afterwards. You don't even have to pay the $1. Like, that's it, man. And that's enough about that. Let's get back to the shovel. Once again, making everybody super happy who's watching this and expects me to finish working on that bike in one single video and everything's done like this was a movie or something. Yeah, that's not happening. But we are going to ride dirt bikes. Before we go ride dirt bikes, as I sit here and talk on the camera and let Shay Lisi do all the work, it's time to drop off some Brapstar packages. Well, I wouldn't exactly say it's our best time getting out to Croom. I think we're sitting at right about 11. But it was 52 degrees this morning and we're pushing 60 now, so I'm not complaining. 52 degrees when you're out riding dirt bikes, it might feel like it's gonna suck, but it's the best. We are definitely in Florida's riding season right now, and my New Year's resolution was to ride more motorcycles, so that counts for all of them. Every time I put them on, I'm once again reminded that these things right here, the Sport RX inserts, which allow you to not have to wear glasses inside your goggles, for me at least, the greatest invention that's ever been made for riding dirt bikes besides the dirt bike itself. I always like to come back into this real slow because after not riding for a couple months, I can't tell you how easy it is to just absolutely get super out of shape and really get yourself into trouble. But your brain really doesn't forget what to do. It's your muscles that are the problem. Your brain says go, and then the muscles don't do it, and all of a sudden you find yourself ass over tea kettle. And when that does happen to me, and it's happened plenty of times, it's usually within the first 15 minutes of riding. And I go a lot slower when Shay's with me because I don't want her to ever get a sense of urgency like she's gonna lose me. She's pretty good about riding her own ride. But it's a great warm-up for me because what we'll do is we'll go out, I'll ride here pretty slow, then she'll go back and she'll take some rest because she doesn't have as much endurance as I do, and that's okay, you know, she's building up. But what that allows me to do is, while we're practicing on like easier, safer places, is just build my endurance for standing up. So even though I do sit down sometimes, I try to stand up the entire time I'm riding with Shay, and it's just a good exercise for me. Obviously, there's still a lot of turns I sit down for. I don't have the skill to stand up through every turn. Like, if you guys ever watch B-Rad Moto, he just started making videos again, and B-Rad's a good friend of mine, man. We've been making YouTube videos together. Well, not together, I've never actually met him in person, but one of those internet people that you feel like you know him, because we've been collaborating just online, making videos with each other for freaking, 7 or 8 years at this point. He just got back into making videos, and he's just one of the best riders I've ever seen, although he'll argue with you and say he sucks, and everybody sucks compared to someone, dude. There's always a bigger dick. And of course, there's someone just starting out that I might seem like the best to. Anyway, make sure you go check out his channel, B-Rad Moto. I'll have it linked down below. He just started sharing videos again, and they're freaking a lot of fun, man. There's more of a comedic, lots of wrecks, lots of banter. He's talented enough that he can just let his skills speak for themselves, but he's a funny guy. You gotta let that shine too. I don't care how skilled you are. Shay's actually doing pretty damn good. Hasn't dropped it once. As the old adage goes, you ain't racing unless you're crashing. You ain't really riding hard unless you crash a few times. But, she's just trying to get her feet back under her. I don't think there's any need to ride hard enough to crash today. Good job. I was worried that would freak her out, the 2 trees below that, but handled it like a champ. Freaking go, Shay Lisi. At least he made the decision to go ahead and go back out instead of staying back, which you would think be like, okay, well, I don't get to go as fast, but I probably don't need to be really going fast anyway, I'll be honest with you guys. And she was feeling so good, feeling pretty confident, so I'm not wasting the chance, because I love riding dirt bikes with Shay, and I want her to get her confidence back and build her skill up. I'll definitely take an easy day if it means getting Shay more seat time on that KX100. Yeah, going fast or slow, man, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I have fun on this thing anyway. I don't need to be going 70 miles an hour, 6th gear pinned to have a good time on this KTM. Now, I'm not saying that isn't fun. That's a lot of fun. But I don't need to do that to have a good time. Good times out at Crooms. Feels good to be active. I need to do more of that in the new year, not just ride motorcycles more. But my resolution is ride motorcycles more. If that happens to be good for me and not just good for the soul as it always is, well, then so be it. Let's go ahead and get back to the beige malaise. And where'd we stop? Oh, yeah. changing all the fluid. One of the fluids that everybody tends to forget when you're changing everything on a bike that's sat for years and years and years and years. I don't know how many years, but a lot of them. Can't forget about the brake fluid. There's some sketchy noises coming from the front end when it comes to brakes. I'm gonna go ahead and pull those calipers off and cross my fingers that it's not too bad down there. Knowing this bike and everything else I've found thus far, it's probably not gonna be very pretty. One of these days I'll get a lift that is actually pneumatic. Maybe, I don't know. Let's start by sucking all the presumably very nasty fluid out of this thing. Much to my shock, somebody changed this pretty recently. Either that or somebody changed it right before it went into storage. Either way, that does look pretty good. Unfortunately, good isn't good enough. I've got a pair of steel braided lines on a chopper out there that I bought that's not gonna have a front brake when I'm done with it, so I'm gonna go ahead and slap them on this thing. Yeah, fresh fluid or not, those brake lines are as old as the bike and they just ain't cutting it anymore. I'm sure they're swelling like crazy every time you hit the brakes. California quiet. The bike goes up, the bike goes down, the bike goes up, the bike goes down, the bike goes up, the bike goes down. And yeah, the whole line's gonna wanna turn. Let's get some PB Blaster on that thing. Let's see if it's a little more cooperative now. Slightly, not a lot. I really hate these old style lines that don't use a banjo bolt. I guess hate's a strong word. It's not like they don't work. They work fine. I just think it's kind of silly, man. A banjo bolt does just make everything so much freaking easier. Surprisingly new fluid. But new fluid does not keep 40-plus-year-old brake lines from expanding under pressure. So on inspecting this side, I've got a lot of gunk built up on the inside over here. I think this caliper is leaking. I wanted to polish up these calipers anyway, so I'm just gonna pull them off. Really not sure what I'm gonna find in there, but we'll see. Whatever it is, it's probably not gonna be great. It's not appetizing. Yeah, let's go ahead and add brake seals to the list of stuff I gotta order. No wonder it had fresh fluid in it. All the old fluid was leaking out. Small delay, but now I'm back where I looked for about 20 minutes for where I put this down. Turns out it was in the last place I left it. Crazy. Cool. Yeah, this thing was probably not sliding very well either. It's dry as a bone in there. Careful on these guys. I just found out, I didn't even know this. These old school ones actually have nuts that are captured in the back of this. So they fit in right there. And I've heard something drop earlier and I didn't know what it was. When they dropped out of this one, I realized what was going on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stick them on the end of these guys so they don't get lost. But it looks like the Crypt Keeper's bathroom in there. Again, not exactly pleasant. Let's go ahead and pull this wheel off and drain the other fluid nobody thinks about after brake fluid, which is fork fluid. This wheel was always gonna have to come off anyway because the previous owner quickly told me when I was negotiating for price that, you know, the tires are brand new. They were brand new when they got put on the bike 10 years ago, so that doesn't quite fly. Now, let's see if we can get these fancy end caps off. Hey!
Working, Steph?
Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Cindy. The bike goes up, the bike goes down. The bike goes up, the bike goes down. We are entering into a little bit of an unknown territory from here because I've never removed one of these speedometer assemblies. So it looks like you have to do it in order to take the top cap off the forks and change that fluid. Let's just start taking bolts out and see what happens. Oh, well, that does come out pretty easily. Man, looks like if I just pull these handlebars, I'll get at the top caps just fine. The bike goes up, the bike goes down. The bike goes up, the bike goes down. Let's see what kind of mess we're dealing with inside of here. Ooh. It's not pee, it's different. Any nefarious deeds, mystical herbs, and dark visions here.
Not here in the Mickey Mouse Club. Does your computer ever seem to have a mind of its own?
Well, I cut off short. Combination of things. A dead battery in my camera. I needed an impact screwdriver to be able to get those drain plugs out. And I was just pretty freaking tired, man. I've been getting up early. We rode dirt bike. New year, new me. Actually, new year, same me. I'm just trying to change me into a lighter, slimmer, live a little bit longer than 60 years old me. But that's besides the point. It's the next day. I've been editing this video all morning. I took a trip over to the People's Republic of Harbor Freight, got myself an impact screwdriver. Let's finish up these forks. And if you guys are wondering what an impact screwdriver is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's literally just a screwdriver that you hit with a hammer that knocks stuff like this loose. Literally made for stuff like this. And I didn't have one because you don't really need one super often, but when you need one, you need one. There we go. And yeah, that fork oil was looking pretty gross. Definitely needed to get changed. Bike goes up, the bike goes down. The bike goes up, the bike goes down. Freaking 8 ounces of 20 weight in each side, and we're ready to button this thing back up. As you can see, the stuff that came out was definitely not the right color. Also say when it came to getting the fork caps off, this 39 millimeter, well not 39 millimeter, I bought it for 39 millimeter Showa forks. These are still Showa forks, they're just 41 millimeter, but luckily the top cap is exactly the same. This is from Motion Pro. It's really low profile. It's made specifically for this. It's 1 3/8 inch. And if I didn't have this low profile one to get in there, I would have had to take this whole nacelle apart to be able to get these off. So that came in clutch. Freaking wobble helps too, just saying. And that's gonna bring me to... Alright guys, that's gonna about bring me to the end of this episode with the Tour Glide and all the other stuff we got up to as well. I'm waiting on the brake seals. I gotta pull the tank because there is some rust in there. I originally thought it was clean, but small bits of rust in there that I do want to do electrolysis on it and completely seal it and make sure the tank is good. On top of the brake seal kit coming, I've also got a carb seal coming for it so I can rebuild that butterfly carb because as you guys have seen, it's not super happy starting, and that's because as Joe the Mountain Jedi told me, that dip ain't gonna cut it, baby. It has to be taken apart, has to get new seals and new parts. And huge thanks to all you guys who've been with me this whole time. I appreciate the hell out of you guys. And to everybody here who's new, you know, we got a couple thousand new people since I started working on the Tour Glide. For some reason, YouTube is really recommending this thing. To all you new people, things are always all over the place. We were dirt biking, then riding Sportsters, and then working on the Tour Glide and doing everything in between. That's not out of the ordinary. That's pretty much how we do it every time. So if you're not into stuff like that, I really don't know what to tell you because it's just kind of how we do business around here. This ain't a TV show, baby. This is real life. I gotta wait for parts just like the next guy, and sometimes I gotta wait till the week after for me to be able to afford to buy the parts for the damn thing. I'm a real person. This is my home garage, not a YouTube studio. So sorry if the bike doesn't get finished in one single episode. We don't have the budget for that around here, and YouTube costs me money. It doesn't make me money. Every episode I put out, it costs me more to make than it brings in ad revenue. That's why I appreciate all you guys on Patreon, and I appreciate all you guys who visit brapstar.com and keep this place going and keep us fiddling around with bikes like this, which is pretty cool, man. You guys are the ones that make it so we're able to buy parts and fix bikes like this up and then raffle them off for charity. So I appreciate the hell out of you guys. I wish I could raffle them off and just keep the money, but I also don't wish that. I'm glad that we do that. By the way, if you guys have been waiting for the live stream for the winner of the $250,000 raffle, we're doing a live stream for that this Sunday, so stay tuned. Well, I mean, don't stay tuned. Don't stay in front of your computer till Sunday. Today's still Wednesday, but we'll see you guys Sunday for a regular video and then a live stream afterward. Anyway, let's go about do it for this one, y'all. Until next time, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. They never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.